my name is 𝘾𝐼𝙎𝙕𝐾𝐆𝐒, and as well as playing Brian Epstein for the second time now, I've also been appointed as the director for the Moondogs. What is there to say about Brian that hasn't already been said? We all know collectively that the Beatles are so talented and they're a force of nature, but all it takes is one mind to take them into the stratosphere. Brian Epstein was that mind. He is, I think, the most important cog in the clockwork of the Beatles' success. And without Brian, I think, this is just my opinion, but I think the Beatles would have been a very decent Mersey band, a decent beat group, but Brian helped them become a brand, become a mega band, and the legacy that they've left behind now, you know, a lot of it's their own talent, but I think they owe a lot of that to Brian as well. And the more I researched into Brian, the more I realised just how wonderful and how ahead of the time he really was as well. He reminds me a little bit of Joe Meek in a way, a bit of a tortured soul, but a genius at the same time, you know, an underappreciated genius. There is a lot of relatable aspects about him that I can most definitely relate to. But in regards to being an outsider or a bit of a misfit, you know, perhaps misunderstood, I can relate to that, you know. I know what it's like to be your own person and to be the odd one out, and maybe perhaps be a little bit paranoid about what other people think of you as well. You know, you always feel a little bit off kilter, never quite reaching the same vibe as other people, never reaching people's expectations. You know, I think he's someone who is very charismatic, but also holds himself back a little bit as well. I can definitely relate to all that. I can relate to being a chameleon at times when I feel like I'm not fitting in. And I'm sure, especially at that time, you know, with his sexuality and the way the world was at the time and the laws in the UK, you know, that must have really tortured him. And he was quite a tragic figure. And, you know, the more I researched into him and the more I related to him in regards to feeling a bit out of place, I wanted to give him a hug, really. Like, you know, I grew quite attached to the character, and I'm quite protective of that part as well. I really wanted to do it justice the first time round when I played Brian last year at the Epstein. But this time round is no different. I want to make sure that he is represented the way he should be represented. So as a director, my experiences are predominantly with film. I'm an award-winning filmmaker. So the medium of film is so different to the medium of theatre. There's so many different challenges. For example, with film, you know, Dandilicious I can use as an example. That's quite a big cast, but not everyone's needed at the same time, so you can break it up. Whereas with theatre, you know, if you have a big cast like the Moondogs, everybody needs to be present, and sometimes it can be hard to get everyone together, but you know, everyone has their own lives and have other works, you know, to commit to. So, you know, you have to be patient with people at times, but that's just the nature of theatre anyway, and that's just the nature of having a really big cast. But there is a lot more to plan. I think you need to plan more thoroughly with theatre than you do with film, really, because there's just so much, especially with live performance, there's so much that could go wrong. So you have to be quite obsessive to a point, really, to make sure that all the bases are covered and to reduce any stress or any problems going in. But the advantage I have being the director of the Moondogs is a foundation has already been established with everybody involved. You know, we're all friends outside of this, but we can put friendships aside and think professionally as well in the work environment, and we can bounce off one another. The chemistry is just gold, you know, and I can't wait to be around that infectious energy again in the rehearsal room. And even today, being part of the promo shoot, you know, it's almost as if it hadn't been a year at all since we were all in the same room together. So with my experiences as a director, I know how to run a production like a business. I think, you know, the play and the artists involved are so wonderful. They bring so much to the table. You know, I think it really is a very polished play in its writing, in its performances, in its characterisation, but that needs to be reflected through how it's projected to the public leading up to the play. And branding is such a huge thing, and identity is such a huge thing. So I've wanted to bring that to the table, bring some infrastructure in ways that, you know, I probably could have helped us last time, that I think we needed last time. But I've been described as an actor's director, so I can speak as an actor myself. I can speak the same language actors speak, and I know how to direct actors, bring the best out of actors, you know, completely disarm actors and make them feel comfortable to be able to immerse themselves into the characters and the stories. And I think a lot of that that's down to patience, because every actor's different and they immerse into their work differently from one another. So you just gotta sort of be on the same wavelength with the actors, but it's worth it. Really is. You get some gold, some dynamite out of the actors, and this cast, I mean, you'd have to come and watch and find out. A great night, I think, going to see the Moondogs. I mean, it does pay homage to the Beatles, but it doesn't take itself seriously. There is drama, and there is, you know, lots of contrast this time round to the last show. There are some dark moments, but overall it is a happy-go-lucky play, and I think people are going to walk out and they're just going to feel really good, really positive. They've just seen a good show with fantastic musicians, fantastic performances, fantastic storytelling, and that energy that the actors are going to bring out is just going to wash over the audience, and they're just going to thoroughly enjoy it. It's escapism. It's exactly what theatre, it's exactly what art needs to be. It's escapism. So I can't wait for people to just watch the show and just let it wash over them and forget about their worries and their concerns and enjoy a damn good show.